So this is Robert Eidus. I'm at Eagle Feather Organic Farm, and we're going to be talking about water, uh, how you can uh, use the water that is available to you, and then what you do with it, how you use it in your home, and how you expel it back into nature. All of these things will be explained shortly. We are going to discuss some water issues. This is a major uh, concept in how to live a sustainable life. If you have water that you are defecating in that is drinkable, it doesn't make any sense. And the Native Americans were the first ones to uh, point this out to me, that the European system of producing absolutely high quality water that we could use to go to the bathroom in is just the wrong system. What we need is a system where the water that you're going to enter your body is going to be highly um, filtered so that it's drinkable water, some of the better drinkable water that's out there. And those functions of the body or the house, the home, that needs water but doesn't need it at the purity level of drinking water, needs to be able to use that type of water for washing clothes, washing dishes. And all of that water should go into the garden. It, it doesn't need to go any other place but into the system that is created in the garden with gray water treatment. This is rare to have a system like this, a dual system where there's potable and unpotable water, water that you purify for drinkable is in one system. It comes in, it could come in together. The two systems could come in together to the house, but then it is rerouted so that the drinkable water is filtered and usually comes from one place in the home by the sink, and all of the other taps are for washing or doing other things other than drinking. And that system should be employed immediately and should be also employed in areas where there is drought and desert areas. So all of the water that is brought to the dwelling needs to then be dissipated around the house. This is not new. It's not a new system. It's been used by many cultures in many different ways, but it is definitely a system that the United States needs to think of seriously when the administration a number of years ago declared that if you want to get drinkable water, you need to get it out of your tap. Before, people would just drink water out of streams, out of the faucet, and it would be pure. Now it is not a place where we really want to go. We want to take the water and we need to rethink about rainwater harvesting. We have done a poor job of doing this. Our pioneer ancestors did much better than us. And part of it is that we've given these tasks over to government and that we need to take them back. We need to be in control of our water. If you are in control of your water, you're not going to go into drought situations like people have had in the past. One of the things that we will look at very soon is rain barrels. So rain barrels are important because you're harvesting the rainwater with gutters and downspouts going into the rain barrel to collect the water. At our farm here, Eagle Feather Farm, we use the rain barrels as the first place that we go to water the plants. The plants do not need to have water at the same purity as humans. And so we collect water. Everybody should be collecting water because we go through those cycles of having a lot and then we have very little. And those drought cycles can be augmented by having rain barrels and by having dual system so that you're just using a small amount for drinking. And the rest should be coming from the rain or the environment. Even out in the desert, they have nights where there's dew. And you come out and your car is all full of droplets. And people in the desert could collect water by using the machinery to collect water and have that water then purified. And one of the systems that we're looking forward to using here is the Berkey. The Berkey filters are really good. They can take just about the worst water out there and make it into pure water. And so we would advocate that all houses, as a minimum, have places that the water is purified. And that is just at the point of drinking. And all of the drinking water should come from one spout in the house. Now, the rain barrels are an extra expense. And I know that when I went out to Joshua Tree in the desert, nobody collected water out there. And it was a crime. And you can collect water and with pumps put it into a reservoir so that you can get gravity fed situation. There are management tools with water that you can use to have a current supply at all times. With the global warming and the climate change, we're going to have opportunities to practice conservation of water, which should be number one. Also, our water shouldn't be tainted like we see in Detroit or that other community in Michigan where there's lead in the water. All of those systems need to be redone. And if we're redoing them, let's do them as dual systems rather than as single systems. And one other aspect of water that I'd like to talk about before we get up and walk around is people are using water in containers, plastic containers, to drink from. And right now, the majority of Americans in their blood have plastic. And the reason they have the plastic in their blood is because we've been drinking out of plastic water bottles. You should be either using stainless steel or glass to drink out of. And anything else is really not acceptable. Okay, we're discussing water here at Eagle Feather Farm, and we are aware that there's a basic permaculture rule that you try to capture all of the water that comes down on your piece of land and either put it into a pond or some kind of storage, into swells. But what you want to do is help your aquifer get larger, rather than taking water off of your property and now your neighbor has a problem. So there are lots of ways of getting that water into your aquifer, and the way that usually works the best when you have a place where a lot of water is coming down at once is to build what they call a French drain. And people could look that up. It's basically a hole in the ground with a lot of gravel, but the water comes in and it's able to dissipate down to the groundwater. And so that's the idea, that you really want to have one drop go onto your neighbor's property, but all of the rest of the water is really here on your property. That is really important. Now, there are some aspects of our soil fertility. Patrick Battle turned me on to a study where the soil fertility now from 1950, now 70 years later, has diminished to the point of being a problem that you're going to have to replenish. So in a forest, it's replenished with leaves, and then the water will give you a nice base to retain your water. But if you can think about also composting toilets, which will allow you to put other than annual crops into the ground. Joe Hollis, I think, had the best solution. He usually fills up or partially fills up a 5-gallon bucket, digs a hole, empties the whole 5-gallon bucket there, and then puts a tree on top of it. So that's a great, and now obviously digging a hole in the mountains to take a 5-gallon bucket is not just anybody can do that. That takes quite a bit of talent. But to think about using composting toilets is a great way for us to get back some of the nutrients that we've lost and put them back on our plants and trees. And the other is urination. There's very little incentive on our farm to take and urinate and put it into the septic tank. We'd rather put it directly into the ground, which then helps out a lot of different plants. Obviously, if you're close to one plant, it's going to help that plant out also. But this is a a necessity until we get our soil back to where we need it to be. We don't need to be flushing these nutrients down the into the compost, into the septic tank. And so understand that you do have control over, once you get your water supply, what do you do with it? And then once you have your water supply, how do you use it? And then how can you help your soil put back nutrients so that you can have an abundance of plant material for health, for food, for sustenance. Here, we're back here at the rain barrel, and as you can see, there's a gutter with a screen on it, and the downspout comes in, and you have to usually make some kind of transition between the downspout and that. And this is one of the places where you're going to put your dunk to get rid of the larvae for the mosquitoes. But the majority of what we're taking out of here comes right here, and we have a water can right there, and that is what waters the flowers and the plants and the herbs. If you would like some more information, you could go to my website, ncgoldenseal.com. We also have a section on water on my YouTube site, and also on Mountain Stream, as well as a podcast off of my website on water, if you would like some more information. Thank you.